Welcome to the Redvee TV Show, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2024 season. Kevin, news over the last couple of days. Yesterday, we had the IMG Gradings. Today, we have contract renewals. Everyone's been waiting for your hot take.
Yes, obviously they have. And now I couldn't. No, I'm only joking.
Are you ready? Oh, top of the league. Give us a trophy. You can win all
Ah,
four, but you'll never beat St. Helens.
yeah, yeah. Um,
My
what?
initial reaction before I'd seen we were top and it was Saints have got a grade A rating. I think my first response is water's wet.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah.
And it's the same for listen, it's the same for Wigan, Leeds, OKR, Catalan. You know them teams are going to be in Super League. It's the minnows who've never really won anything, the likes of Warrington, Lee, Wakefield, who probably have to worry about the Super League status the most.
I tell you what, you're even looking down there with them B grades. There's a couple in there that you think need to do something about them. I'm going to go on record though with the IMG gradings and say that these should not dictate who is in the top flight. I like the idea of making things so we improve as a sport, on a whole, as a sport. And I'm not just saying moving into new grounds, even though we were threatened back when we were in Knowsley Road that we needed one and Salford needed one and Celtic Crusaders needed one. I mean, just improving standards across the board. If Castleford make their ground better in whatever way that is, make it so the changing rooms are better, make it so facilities are better. If Leeds can ever do anything about that away end, I'm not sure that they ever can, but put a lid on it, then great. But I don't see how like having LED boards or a big screen in your stadium should score you points that mean that you could get promoted. It
Social
should be
media,
on.
social media shares.
Yeah,
I think Redvee would have finished above some of them clubs on there if we formed a Redvee 13 with the amount of
yeah.
social media stuff we get out. Um, I've- the only team I think have really listen, Hull have been terrible for years on the field, but how are they 10th?
You know what? I've kind of ignored it to some extent. As I say, I love the idea of us all going together as a sport and having to improve your facilities and having some kind of um, measurement and some accountability for improving the sport.
I was
But
Salford bottom of that.
I think it might be. I think
Under
it's something to
finance, is
do
it
with,
that they're saying?
yeah. I think it's like because of fan owned.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm just uncomfortable with a sport where being 12th best in a 12 team Super League and then being best of the rest in the Championship, you don't then swap places or play off to swap places. And you could have someone like, um, we'll say York there, could end up getting an A license and they knock someone out. A team like Salford, they could knock Salford out of there if they got an A license, A grade, when Salford are one of the most exciting teams that we see in Super League.
And are
How
constantly
does that work?
improving.
Yeah, how does that work? That
I'm looking at some of the grades for really for the first time. Like, I know it's scored, but a Barrow a more worthy potential Super League club than Widnes.
well, again, I'm not sure.
Who
I'm
cares?
not
You know
sure.
what? Who
And,
cares?
and
The 12 that are in Super League are the actual 12 who actually deserve to be there, given that Wakefield. Listen, fair play to Wakefield. They went down. I said we'll never play them again. Hated the place. Absolute dump. But fair play, their owner's come in. He's spent some money. He's done what needs to be done. He's invested and they've come up. And yeah, Absolutely. But yeah, it is what it is. But I'm glad Cass are there regardless because they've got the best hog roast in the world.
And that cake stand as well that I always hit, and
But
then
do you know
obviously
what? We are top of the tree. It's testament to the work that does go on off the field. And we talk plenty about ways we could improve off the field, which I'm sure we'll get onto in another episode when I will have a moan as per you.
yes, 100%. And I just want to point out when I pick York there, not having a go at York. If there is like an odd York fan who watches this, I'm not having a go. You're just the first team that I noticed there who aren't necessarily ready for the top flight.
Hey, listen, I know they say that's the 12 teams to confirm for Super League next year, but what happens if Whitehaven and Batley put in their data correctly and suddenly like League Clubs are like
That
third?
impossible, impossible.
Right then, 4 contract renewals announced today. Will Roberts, John Bennison, Ben Davis, and Jake Burns all getting a 12-month extensions to their deals. Probably all expected, given that they hadn't been on the release list. Um, a couple of them, like John Bennison, we've spoke about in recent weeks by saying at the end of the year he deserved his place in the team. He'll probably be third choice winger, you'd say, next year behind Lewis Murphy. And Kyle Felt pushing for a shirt when he comes in. Jake Burns done more than enough
Yeah,
to secure himself the spot in another year going round as third choice hooker. Will Roberts, I know he's had his injuries, but will provide a young half competition there if he gets his chance. And Ben Davis, obviously for the squad depth. Listen, we've spoke about it many times with Ben Davis. He gets such a bad rap. He's number 21 in the squad for a reason. He's there for the depth to be able to come in and play in various roles. The only thing I would say is when we say he's there for his versatility, the question has been raised, well, why when we've had so many injuries has he not played more games? And I think that is the valid comment you would give there. But for me, an extra 12 months to fill out the squad is more than welcomed. I know people won't agree, some won't agree, but
yeah. I think, right, I'm going to pick the Ben Davis one first then. Who has been picked ahead of him at centre this year?
Sione, Matt
Yeah,
Percival, Conrad
yeah,
Harrell,
yeah,
Wonga Blake. I tell
yeah.
you what, yeah,
Johnny Vaughan twice has played centre, and Ben wasn't in the 17. Joe Batchelor's played centre, Magic Weekend. Ben Davis was playing at 6. Matt Whitley's played centre once, and that was when Tommy Makinson tweaked his hamstring in the warm up and we brought George Delaney in onto the bench. So he's made 11 appearances this year, same as he did in 2023. Made 16 in 2022. I've just had a look at the centre depth that we've got at the club, and I do think it's concerning. This isn't a reflection on Ben at all, but you've got Percy. Now, Percy, over the past 2 seasons, I would guess that he plays about 70% of games, Percy. Bans maybe the odd injury, as you'd expect, because he's a high impact player. Conley's not signed a deal at the club yet, or it's not been announced anyway.
no, I think Connie is obviously still recovering from
Yeah.
the neck injury until he gets the medical
The
sign off. Then we don't know where we stand for
yeah,
2025. I would suspect if he gets the all clear that he will be made an offer, but you've obviously got the jeopardy there that of in the meantime, if something became available on the from the NRL and he hasn't signed a deal,
yeah.
it's a cutthroat world, isn't it?
It is. It is. But going at the other options, I'll go through them dead quick. You've got obviously Connie potentially coming back in. You've got Percy, Matt Whitley, Joe Batchelor. Then you're going down to your likes of. I've seen people say Harry Robertson as a starting centre. No, that's not going to happen. Owen Dagnall, not played for Saints yet. Dejan Sambu, not played for Saints yet. You've got Johnny Vaughan, who's started twice at centre. Then you're looking at the likes of Moses and Jack Wellesby, who've played centre in the career. I think it's I think we're very bare. While I've named a lot of players there, I've named a lot of players who haven't played an awful lot of centre for us. I do worry about it, and I think that's why you do have the likes of Ben in the team, the likes of why you keep John Bennison, because he adds depth on the wing, he adds depth at fullback. Why you keep Will Roberts, because he is a hungry young player who has been injured, and you're giving him that chance. We're not a charity, but you're giving a player who you identify as talented enough a chance. And if he doesn't take that chance, if for some reason the stars don't align, then fair enough. And then finally, you talk about Jake Burns. He's the one who you think, wow, what a season he had last year. I'm sure that he didn't think at the start of the season he'd play as much and he'd be as influential. I don't think he's quite ready to be your second choice hooker yet. I think he would need another year or two before that would be the case. But there is plenty there. He just looks so good off the floor, passing. He looks like he'll keep like opposition guessing. And I think with that first season behind him, he's got to find the energy when he goes into his second pre-season to take his game forward. And I'm sure with the likes of Darrell Clark and the likes of Moses and Bai in with him, he will do that.
Yeah, I'm just reading some of the comments from Ben. And he was talking about being the 18th man so much this year and how tough it is. But I think the professionalism of him to being around the squad and be there when called upon. Listen, I've called out players who've been 18th man this year who look like they didn't want to be there, running the water on. Well, water on.
Yeah, that's one thing that you can never level at him. And listen, I don't mind if people have got opinion and they give a reasoned opinion of why they think Ben Davies should have been released, why they don't think he should play. That's fine. But the absolute spitting vitriol we see on social media it's abhorrent. It's from people who have just put in the first thing that pops into their head because they want to be dragged along by that wave of everyone else is saying it, so I'm going to get involved too. And they don't think that behind that, you've got a 24-year-old lad who is trying to make his way in the game, his family seeing that. And it sickens me. And to me, they're not fans. I wish I could swear on Redvee. I really do, because I would do it at this point.
There is an element of social media that becomes playground bullying.
Yeah. Yes.
And people think they put things and it's not read. I know people listen, people can slag us off in comments.
They do.
On social media. Guess what? We read them.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you write about players will see comments. Their families will see comments. Is that support? There's a and let me just define this. And like you've just said, Kev, there is a difference between having an opinion and outright abuse. I've got no problem with anybody having any opinion, good or bad, about a player. But the actual abuse that comes, even on things that isn't anything to do with them, sometimes it's just poor.
Well, I think that as you say, when you've got a player who will not be on the biggest money in the world, is doing a job as a squad player, who doesn't just want to play 11 games, but guess what? That might be your lot for next season again. When you're filling in and you're playing a game at 6, you're playing 2 games at 4, you're on the bench this week, you're not getting that run. And I think we speak about it with Sam Royal. When people are putting vitriolic rubbish on the internet, rather than saying, I don't think he should be here because I think his wage could be better used for X, Y, and Z, bring in this player, bring in that. That's fair game when you're giving balanced opinion.
It's when people say, let's get rid of Sam Royal and we'll spend the money on Nathan Cleary. And they're like, it's just absolute fantasy. Or get rid of 3 of our young lads and bring in Mikey Lewis. It's not going to happen. There's a salary cap for a reason, and people need to understand that. And don't underestimate the importance of having decent squad players for the opposed training sessions in training as well to run against.
Correct. And that's how John Bennison got his shot in the team, and that's why John Bennison is currently wearing a Redvee and will be wearing it again next year.
John Bennison getting a year extension. T. Ritson has got a year to run. I wonder whether we look to move T on if possible for his benefit to get him playing time. And just because, I just don't feel he's going to get much opportunity this year.
And yeah, he's moving further and further down. And as I say, there's a couple of players there, Dale Sambu, hope to keep out of any injury problems. Owen Dagnall, who's a bit more of a centre, but you could see him playing on the wing a couple of times next year if needed. Harry Robertson can do a job out there if needed as well. You
Kev,
just wonder.
has that set the pecking order? The fact that we've offered John Bennison another 12 months then, even though T still has 12 months to go, tells you that John Bennison has won that battle.
It tells me he's ahead in that battle, yeah.
But Will Roberts is.
I think that he will have got a lot out of going back to Swinton. And now if he goes to Swinton, he needs to lead them round, because if he's not leading a team round in the lower divisions, is he going to do it on the big stage?
But as a positive, they must see something in him to give him another 12 months.
Yes, definitely. I know he had a +1 there, like an extra year on his contract. It's good to see that being put in and giving him the chance, because him and George Whitby are the next ones knocking on the door. And one of them's got to try and win that race. We all think it's George at the minute because he's made his debut, but I'm sure Will Roberts will have something to say about that.
Yeah, Wello said, obviously he had such a massive injury, and to come back from that and to have a full pre-season as a full-time professional, it's going to be a big year for him. They're hoping to be able to give him opportunity at some point. Again, it might come through injuries to first team players, but when he gets that opportunity, we've got to hope he takes the chance. And
Yes,
that is this week's episode.
excellent.
2 big points all covered off. Right then, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we will be back over the weekend with another of our 2024 player review shows.